and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite
Chris, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 131 of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, as always, is Mr. KBD. How are you doing, sir?
Listen, I'm happy and sad. I mean, we got the new kit reveal, but then, Emerson's not traveling with the damn team. Like, what the hell's going on here?
He's going to Mexico. Let that Emerson crap go. It's over. But
Never.
We do have a special guest that's going to break down into Miami and MLS with us. But before we bring him in, I did have to play this back real quick. Just in case anybody missed it, and if you're on audio, I apologize. I wanted to put this out there so that Chris could watch it. Now, there's no audio on it, so just take a look here. Oh, and there you are. Diego Gomez scoring down the right side, and then off of a free kick. And then, for Chris, for you, I'm going to play it for you one more time, Chris. You ready? Here we go. Yeah. That is Diego Gomez on the right side, back post, upper 90, Blacata. Yeah. That's one. And then from top of the box, free kick. That's two. That's today. Over the last two games, 3 goals. Diego Gomez, not a trash bag like you claimed last episode. You got to give the kid some time. And I was glad to see it. Even happier to know that you were upset to see it. And F. Emerson. What do you got to say about Diego Gomez?
My grandma could have scored that free kick. Who the hell was paying attention? Who was paying attention on that free kick? And then, is he must be the best player on his team. No? Is he?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not too familiar with the Paraguayan.
Well, exactly. Team. I don't know who else plays with him.
Just because he's the best doesn't mean he's gonna score.
I mean, whatever. Nobody was paying attention to that kid.
All right. Well,
get out of here. Give me a whole season of that.
Liked and sub. Appreciate that. Let's just go through the chat real quick. Ikem, what's going on? Appreciate you joining us. We got Francisco, pushers and pullers. Love that. We got to ask the guest that question. Let's see. We got AZ. Yes, Emerson got loaned. Emerson is not really good. So, Aaron, please stop that. Let's see. He doesn't know how to feel about it. We're going to get into the new signing. Gomez is cooking. The chat is already cooking. And I guess.
No. You just blazed. You just blazed right past Sean Callahan saying it's against U23, though. Nothing special. How about that?
He is U23 himself.
All right. Let's get to our guest, Danny. Get out of here.
All right.
Get out.
All right.
Get out.
So, anyway, we have joining us Mr. Bob. Oh, you know what, Bob? I am not going to attempt to butcher your name.
Ventimiglia.
So, I'm not going to do that to you. I'll let the people know how to pronounce your last name. What's going on, Bob?
Not too bad. Chris got it. Ventimiglia. It's not the Italian pronunciation, which would be Ventimiglia. You could call me either. My students call me V. I'll take whatever I can get.
Nice. Oh, my students used to call me G. There you go. It's sad. The education system's gotten that low. We're just call us by the first letter.
First letter. Yeah, don't need to read.
Just go. Yeah. So Designated Pundits is the podcast. You cover all of MLS, and I see that you got previews going for basically the entire league. You're planning them out, right?
Yeah, this is the 4th year we'll be doing every team in Major League Soccer, giving a quick season preview, maybe a half hour on each team, and we're covering what you need to know. We're not covering, the 14-year-olds in the system that no one cares. No, players that matter this year, and every week of the season, I post my own sportsbook article, one of the only places you can find actual words written by an actual human. None of this stuff you find on the other websites. Sportsbook.
ChatGPT?
That's well, that's
that too.
It's all algorithmic actually. So if you find someone who actually takes this seriously, you're in such an advantage. I found a few years ago with the MLS Sportsbook, I think it was FanDuel, SKC was the initials for Sporting Cristal, which I think is a Peruvian, Ecuadorian team, one of those Central American teams, a huge club. And every time you could bet on Sporting Kansas City, it said Sporting Cristal. There was an error in the sportsbook. You can bet on every week, and no one caught on. So that's the kind of level we're looking at here.
And saludos, Michael from Chile. Michael, if you like Spanish, we're thinking of going Spanish soon, so you might get some Spanish. And Oliver shouting out the T-shirt. We appreciate this. The Step Brothers, Step Best Friends, a lot of the good stuff. You can find that at batterfans.com. well, I guess before we start talking MLS, we got a couple things to cover about here in Inter Miami's world. And I wanted to start with something that we didn't address on Monday too much because we were talking post game. And I mean, I'd love to hear Bob's thoughts also. Bob, if you had a team that you support, would it be your local Red Bulls?
Yes, of course. That's my team. That's been my team. I, followed soccer for more than 5 years, so it's got to be Red Bull. Grew up in the Metro days. Yeah, grew up in the Metro Stars. I live right about 20 minutes from Red Bull Arena, from the old Giant Stadium where they used to play. So, I'm up in North Jersey here, and yeah, that's how it started. Maybe like Cosmos when I was a kid, but like it's been Red Bulls the whole way for sure.
I'm from New York also. I went to a game for the Metro Stars back when Tony Meola was there, back in the old Giant Stadium and everything. Also, I used to love those Metro Stars jerseys. But Red Bulls, how would you feel? Well, NYCFC has such a crappy name that I don't even know how exactly that you would do it. But have you heard about Orlando's new stadium name?
I have, and I feel very strongly one way about it, and I don't want to give it up yet. They are called Orlando's new stadium is from the banking company Inter & Co. Is that what it is? I don't know what any of those companies do. I assume all Fortune 500 companies do the same thing, like foreclosing orphanages or something. I don't even know what they're about, but
and I know that you thought that it wasn't a big deal, so I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
So if the Red Bulls took somehow, I don't know, the NYCFC name and put it on their stadium, you wouldn't think that that's a little weird?
I think like a closer connection would be like if they named Red Bull Arena Etihad Stadium or like something like that, where
what about
there's a connection.
What if the new NYCFC stadium in Queens was called Red Bulls?
That'd be fantastic.
I mean, drink.
They've had offers to play at Red Bull Arena. They could have been playing in a real soccer-specific stadium for a half a decade now.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke.
No,
but you don't think that that's a big – I think that that's embarrassing that they let that be called Inter & Co.
I don't, and here's why, and here's the thing that I said. Like, David Beckham had to go with a straight face in front of courts to fight for the Inter Miami name, right? Like, they said it's too close to Inter Milan. All the lawyers, all the suits get up and they argue, no, Inter doesn't associate this team with Milan. Inter's its own nondescript term.
Right.
So if they're going to argue that in a court of law, then you could like extrapolate that back and just say like, oh, well, Inter and company has nothing to do with Inter Miami. Inter is just the name. It's just a modifier. It's a descriptor.
But it's the fans that are making fun of them more than anything. David Beckham hasn't come out and said anything.
But it's not only that though, Danny.
Pull up Mike's comment.
Hold on. So Bob, look, he finds a Wish character for everyone. Bob equals Wish Bryan Cranston, and that is golden, Mike V. Another banger for sure. But I think the problem here is that you're talking about this is big money from a sponsorship. Like I don't think that's something that a lot of people really grasp when it comes to this kind of deal. I mean, we're going to be able to laugh at them for 10 years, but in reality, the money is money. It could have been named Barney and Company. They're taking that money no matter what.
I wouldn't want my stadium being named. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head because it's so hard to imagine the first part of somebody's name being in the it's just such a crazy coincidence. Because what could they name Inter Miami that would be like, oh no, I don't want that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Health Park or like something like that.
Yeah,
not Disney. It wouldn't bother me.
But do you know what? So, do you know something funny? There's actually kind of a funny story about this. I grew up a baseball fan, and there's a player for the Braves who was an all-star, first ballot Hall of Famer, Chipper Jones, and he played so well.
Shea Stadium.
Yeah, he played so well in Flushing all the time. He named his firstborn son Shea.
Yeah.
I do know that fact.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah. It's hilarious, honestly. I can't think of anything. Disney, look, they could call it Disney. I don't care what they call it. I can't really think. Orlando doesn't really have anything that works with it. It was just a coincidence. I thought it was funny, and I don't know what this is about.
Marasovic, Par Hub Stadium.
All right, and then getting on to the new kits that were revealed yesterday. They weren't new kits. It's literally the same kit as last year. It was just the new sponsor. And I mean, it's the same exact jersey. I didn't like the XBTO just because to this day, I still don't know exactly. I know that it's some type of, uh, what is it, Coinbit type thing that they got to exchange. I didn't think
It's
it was
a
that big
scam.
a
That's what
deal.
those are called. Bitcoin is it's a scam.
There
That's
you
what it
go.
is.
And the players that were at the event looked like they were bored out of their mind. I kind of feel bad that they had to sit through this. Chris, what did you think of the new sponsor on the shirt?
Well, I mean, the structure of the logos look a lot better than what was projected to be released, right? I mean, I'm just gonna throw a jersey on your face real quick, Bob. But boom. I mean,
No, but
that looks
but Anoche was
hideous.
never rumored to do that. There was only the
This
pink
is a
jersey that
lot
was
more,
rumored to do that.
yeah, but this is a lot more organized. This kind of structure of the jersey. So, like, I'll take that any day. I want to buy that. It's that whole logo of Royal Caribbean is better than the XBTO thing.
And it fits with Miami. I mean, Miami is like an old pirate town. Like the fact that it's a crown with, I did not know that was a Royal Caribbean logo. I just thought it was like a cool Southern like pirate enthused kind of thing. So I like when there's kind of like a little bit of synergy like that. Like it doesn't look off and it doesn't look like, Bilbo written again across your shirt or something silly like that. Just to be clear, there were pink kits that were leaked earlier. Those are completely fake, right?
We don't know.
At this point, there's no confirmation.
There is an image. This is the image that has been leaked that seems to be the most accurate. And everybody's just assuming that this is what it is.
Awful.
Right? And we're not big fans of it. If there was one that I was going to be okay with, it would be this one, just because the pink, the texture, and yes, I'm sure the muscles help. So that is the one that I was kind of hoping for. And then we thought that possibly that they would do it for the black one also, but obviously they didn't. They went just regular Adidas on the right pec, crest on the left, and M and the logo in the middle.
I like that material. That material's class, man.
Yeah, so do I.
There's a lot of people hating on it.
Well, from what a lot of people are saying is that that's not going to be accurate, that our actual authentic jersey won't have that. So if that's the case and it's just a plain salmon colored jersey, I'm not loving it.
I mean, imagine all the replicators out there making the fake jerseys with the logos coming down. Like, those things are going to another country, right? Like, nobody's going to buy those things.
Coming to a stadium near you, $10 outside Red Bull Arena. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, yeah, go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask him. Were you there when Messi played his first MLS regular season game?
We're right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was up in the press box for that game. I was very lucky to have gotten a pass. I mean, I had a ticket anyway. I was lucky to be able to sell my ticket and use my pass.
Right.
So yeah, and from that game on, under the train trestle for the Harrison Path station. For those who don't know, there's like a very intricate subway system in New York City. The Path is the one train that just goes from New York City to New Jersey. It's like one stop. The Path train, under the train trestle, there were people selling Miami jerseys from that game until every other game, including the playoffs. And there were Messi kits, and that mock-up will be under the train trestle in Harrison.
So even when Inter Miami wasn't playing after that, there were still vendors outside selling the Inter Miami Messi jersey.
I mean, whatever you can stuff under your sweatshirt. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes in
That
Harrison,
is
man.
interesting.
You never got like a fakie? Come on.
Oh, for sure. My kids are rocking fakes.
Argentina scarves, the whole deal. Yep.
Nice. I didn't know that. No, my kids are rocking fakes. I rock the authentic. My kids mess those things up. They're rocking fakes. I'm not spending $100 on those to mess it up and grow out of it in a couple days. All right. The kid talk. Well, real quick. I did go to Universal Studios this weekend. I didn't get to go to Inter & Co. I did go to Disney and Universal. There's a reason I'm bringing this up. Last year, there was a speculation that we were going to get a third kit last year, right? We're going to get one this year for sure. But last year, there was a rumor that we were going to get it. And there was this shirt that was kind of weird. It was like a baby blue with like pink splatter on it. And we were like, what the hell is this? And we were wondering if it was actually going to come to fruition. It never did. But if you heard the intro, there's a part where Chris says it looks like a hair-on shat on it. because that's what it looked like. Now, when I was walking around Universal Studios, I saw a little kid running around with this jersey on.
What a bad
here
one.
it is.
Ooh.
Where did he get this jersey? I want it. I thought it was really weird.
I love it. Do you guys follow Fabian Wrinkle?
Yeah.
He was on with us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he leaked that June 18th of last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and it never came to fruition. But
well,
and
Steve Munoz is mentioning that they're fakes, and Mr. Krabs is mentioning can't wait to buy that jersey from the back of some guy's white band.
I know it's absolutely a fake, but I personally like this one better than the one that we're getting this year with the pink and the line down the middle. I would rock the shit out of that.
I don't know, man. This looks terrible.
Give me the hair on Shat all day over that weird anchor down the middle with the. Yeah. I would take it if you know where to get the fake. I would get the fake. That kid was running around. He looked happy. I would be happy running around it also. So I'd take it.
It does look like a great fake. It does look like a great fake. Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't get too close because I thought it was a creep as it is, just taking a picture of a random kid running around. But
yeah, you were the guy in the white band.
Yeah. So I didn't get.
Excuse me, Daniel. Come with me.
My wife walked in the opposite direction. She's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm sorry, I'm doing it for the show. I apologize. Yeah, but I would definitely get that. I would cut that in a second. All right, so let's get on the pitch. We are 2 games into the preseason, and just to inform everybody, after we're done here, we're gonna jump on Bob's podcast, the Designated Pundits, to preview Inter Miami's season with him. But we are 2 games into the preseason now, and there seems to be an overreaction.
Is the season over, Bob? Is the season over? Are we fucking done?
There's no reason to play anymore. Just pack it in.
That's what everybody's saying. We just got to back it in. The game's over. Season's over. Bring back 2025. Let's go. 2025.
The chat was on fire. The chat was on fire.
Yeah, everybody was sellers.
I did it for you guys. Mr. Krabs, for those of you on audio, is asking me why a grown-ass man would be taking a picture of a child. I did it for the show. I did it from a distance. That's why it's so blurry. It was zoomed in. And that just one picture. That's it.
You're done, son. You're done. You're done.
I felt a little disgusting. So our guys from Inter Miami show, Mike, was going a little wild about the fact that we didn't score a goal. I don't think it's that big a deal. And I'm gonna say something, and I don't know if this is considered. It's not a hot take. I kind of hope we don't score any goals in these 7 preseason games. I kind of want to see Inter Miami Twitter go up in flames. I want to see everybody panic for no reason. I promise, as long as they look like they did last game. Because last game, they looked like they were building up play. They were missing. They were getting some shots on target. You can see that things are starting to build. The chemistry is building. They just didn't finish, which is fine with me. Because I know that these guys are some of the best we've ever seen. They'll finish eventually. So for me, go 7 games scoreless. I don't give a crap. Lose every game. I don't give a crap. I promise you, things are going to look much better once they count. And I am not worried one bit. Not at all. So before I ask Bob, since he is the impartial one because he has no ties to Inter Miami, Chris, am I wrong for not worrying at all? At some point, if we go another 2 games without scoring a goal, will you start to worry?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, look, you do see that they are gelling very well, a lot better than the first game, right? You're starting to see better progressions. You're starting to see players get more comfortable pushing the ball up. I mean, look, legitimately, the only thing that we have to worry about is the defensive side, right? I mean, other than that, everything else is sort of moving along, getting better as we get, closer.
Technically, the defensive side, yes. We've played 2 full games, right, Chris? 2 full games. And outside of a bad Jordi Alba turnover, how many goals have we surrendered?
Yeah, 0.
Outside of that 1 goal, none. It's not like we were losing 0-5. Like they weren't running up the score on us. I'm not saying that I feel comfortable with the defense. I'm not saying that. Okay, so don't take it as that. I do think that the defense needs to improve. I do want to see some reinforcements, but people are not only upset that we're not scoring. They're acting like we've getting scored like 5 or 6 times against us. Nobody scored.
Well, yes, I think it's because I think it's because everybody expected us to score like minimum 5 goals each game in the last 2 games. I mean, what's your perspective, Bob? I mean, what do you think in terms of the first 2 games that have gone on so far? So should the world burn to the ground? Or
yes, I mean the world should burn to the ground regardless, but it has nothing to do with Inter Miami. My thought on it is just like any other preseason in any other sport. The best NFL teams have a bad preseason because they trot out the position battles that they need information. No one needs information on Lionel Messi. You don't know what kind of player he is. You don't know what his strengths are. Come on. I do like that Miami didn't concede a single goal. They were, the third worst defense in the league last year, just abysmal. So I would take that more into account. Pairings, who's playing with the first team. Once they sub the first team off, who is that second team? Who's getting minutes together? What some of the players down roster look like. Messi's not in a position battle. Right? Like, we don't need to know that information. And plus, that link-up play that I saw with them, pushing the ball forward, I know Busquets and Messi were both involved. Someone else, I want to say Kramashi, but I don't think I might be wrong. Just connecting, pinging the ball around the box, putting it on target. And there was, only by, the goalie's hand, the ball wasn't in the back of the net. I'm not worried. You got players like Reynoso on Minnesota. He's from Central America. He's not going to Minnesota to training camp. He said, I'll meet you in Tucson. I'll see you guys in Arizona, and I'll show up fit. So if he can do it, Messi can do it. Suarez can do it. And quite honestly, I don't want Suarez touching artificial ground, and I don't want him, his feet just carpeting in his apartment. I don't even walk on. He shouldn't even be walking on a hardwood floor. It's just...
He should literally be carried everywhere unless it's a game on grass.
Like those thrones with the sticks that you see from the old cartoon days. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, look, Luis Suarez had I don't want to say point blank shot, but there was a beautiful little lob pass that Messi threw over, landed right at Emerson. You got me.
Yes.
Luis Suarez's right foot, and then he shanked it. That's fine. But Luis Suarez won't be doing that very often. Luis Suarez finishes more times than not. I'm not worried about this. I don't understand why everybody's so worried about it. Now, going back real quick to the defense, hypothetically, let's say we would have scored 3 or 4 goals in each of those first 2 games, and we scored 8 goals in the first 2 games and gave up 1 goal. Do you think the conversation would have been a little different about the defense?
Yes, a clean sheet. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because one random goal last game and then a clean sheet the first game. So all of a sudden we're scoring, and then we just give up 1 goal. It's like, oh, the defense is pretty good. But because we didn't score, then everybody's like, oh, man, we're not scoring, and our defense isn't looking good. People got to relax, man. It's 2 games in the preseason. Get your panties are in a bunch. Get them off that. It's just weird.
Well, and not only that, but the offensive side is not going to catch the heat. Nobody's throwing heat at Messi. Nobody's throwing heat at Suarez. This is the second game. So what are they going to do? They're going to throw the heat at the defense.
No, first of all, a lot of people are throwing heat at Suarez. Everybody's saying he's done. But Messi did look good.
Yeah, I mean, but Suarez is done because supposedly his knees are shattered. But he just came back. He just started after being the best player in Brazil. People got to kind of pump the brakes over there too,
I think it's okay to have some healthy skepticism. And I think that, Inter Miami, they're building a roster. They've built a roster in a way unlike other teams. Other teams are thinking, oh, well, this player's young, so we can bump him down to a DP youth slot. This player we can buy down with GAM. Miami's going in thinking, okay, we need a youth DP player to sign. We need a player whose salary is going to be bought down by Garber bucks. All these things. So, I'm more worried about the depth. And, you guys did have a pretty rough injury there. And I want to know how you're going to address those issues, because I know a lot of things on the field. You guys are going to run a 4-man back line, a 5-man back line, a 3-man back line. It's going to change week to week. I had trouble putting a depth chart together because you guys, your best 11 is never going to be on the field together. right? Like I would expect them, if you make MLS Cup, that's when your best 11 gets on the field. And besides that, I expect there to be a lot of fluidity. You guys got Julian Gressel, who's, a utility knife. Put him in at wing back, put him in center midfield, put him in at 10, put him in at it doesn't matter. He's going to perform. So no, you guys need to calm down. I don't know where this negative energy is coming from. You guys will be just fine. And if that defense is shored up, if you're losing games 5-3, it's not the offense that you got to focus on. And I see that this defense looks better.
Well, and not only that, but we also have Taylor as a Swiss Army knife. He can be able to fill in a lot of positions. We have Stefanelli, who is a poor man's version of Farias. So, sorry, Danny, I took away the comment that you were pulling up. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Vice City Lucas said Suarez also started slow in Gremio last year, or I think it was last year. You were saying last year, Luis Suarez. I don't know how they do the preseason over there in Brazil, but in he took him to his 4th regular season game to score a goal. He had 2 goals in his first 8 games. He started slow, ended up winning Player of the Year. So give him these 7 games to get the rust off. It's been he hasn't had as long a break as the other guys here in Inter Miami, but I don't understand why everybody's overreacting. I think that it's a little early, and I'm not worried. And I'm honestly, if next week doesn't go well in Saudi Arabia, I'm still not going to worry, barring injury. Now, if we start dealing with some injuries, then it's a different story.
If you leave Saudi Arabia with the same available players that you went there with, and a nice little bag of money, it's a win.
100%. I agree with you. All right. Now, I did have a question for you, Bob. Maybe you've heard more about this than I have. This whole little referee issue we got going where they're asking for more money. There's a strike coming. And supposedly we might be starting the regular season with replacement refs. What are your thoughts on possibly starting the season with some replacement refs?
I
would love to
tongue in cheek, I would tell you that it can't get worse than it was at the end of last year. But then that's going to sound a lot like a challenge to a lot of people out there. I would like to see the refs get paid and to do what they do. I think every sports league should have refs at the top of the pay scale. I don't want refs being vulnerable to blackmail or bribes or any of that. Give them everything they ask for. No ref should be, a ref could teach a soccer camp on weekends. A ref should not be, working in a business office at any time. These guys need to get paid like the professionals they are. They need to act and watch some film and look like professionals on the field too. But they got to get paid. You can't go in with replacements. The replacements are going to be even worse than some of the pros here.
I mean, imagine how many side deals these replacement refs are going to, because they're not going to have a job like in 4 weeks. So somebody comes up to them and is like, hey, you throw a couple red cards to Gregory, like, let's go,
I'd like to think that that's more difficult to do in reality than in history, because historically,
in the Italian league, it happens all the time.
Hey, listen, what do you got about Italians, man?
Nice. Shout out to Don Capacito. He's obsessed with the Italians.
It's my people. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Hey, I live by that.
Yeah, John Madden said that.
Eddie Guerrero said that. All right.
Here, bro. What the hell?
Now, Bob, you cover the MLS. You talk to a lot of people from around the MLS. My question to you: what do you think about MLS fans across the country that are hating on Messi and the Inter Miami in general?
I get it, kind of, but you need to understand that, like, America is a capitalist country, and money's king. Money's king. That's the way it is. I think it was a great move to bring Messi into Major League Soccer. Every team is benefiting. Every team is getting money from, jersey sales, concessions, tickets sold. Everywhere he goes, they've recently been like upgrading some stadiums, to play like the NFL stadium when the time comes, stuff like that. It's a great time to be here. Here is my one knock, and it's not a knock on Messi, and it's not a knock on Inter Miami, but I think this is where a lot of the hate comes from. There's like this generational gap that we have now. You guys are probably about my age, maybe a couple years younger. And kids these days don't follow and bleed for a scarf, like there's no loyalty.
Right.
And I think that the reason that people are upset with Messi isn't really that he came or that they bent the rules. Of course, Beckham got a franchise. Look at how they bent the rules for him. He was going to bend the rules for everyone else. He already got sanctioned for bending the rules, what was that, 2 years ago? People, I think, are having this reactionary, like, visceral reaction saying, like, this is bad that he's here because people are rooting for a shirt. Yeah, but that's the kids. That's how kids work these days, When I was a kid, I would buy a record from the record, like CD. I guess it wasn't really a record. CD or and you listen to every song the artist pulled out. Now they listen to singles, where
Terrible.
You would follow every player and you'd love every player on your team. I remember those AC Milan teams with Kaká and when Ibra came over, that was a huge deal. Now they're following the player. I think it's weird. I don't like it. I think it's going to ruin the sport, but it's not your fault per se. It's younger people, the younger generation, where it's about celebrity and it's not about history and tradition. It's just about the shiny new thing, and maybe that's going to change.
I think that happens more in the United States than anything. Like, for example, in the NBA. In the NBA, that runs rampant. Everybody's because the players are their own business almost, right? Like they have their own brand that you follow. Sure. So it's very common to see in the NBA. In the NFL, you see some of that. Baseball, not so much. But it is very common to see in the United States. I think in European soccer, for example, you're born into a club. Here, you're born into there's 5 different sports in every city now. Like it's just different. Like you might be loyal to one team in one sport, but the other sports you kind of just follow a single player. It's weird. It's definitely weird. But
Listen,
I think in the United States, it runs more rampant than other places.
And Stancy is mentioning, get off my lawn, kids. Listen, I wholeheartedly agree with Bob. Okay. I loved David Wingate as much as I loved Allen Houston. Okay. So suck on that. All right. You got to love the badge. Love the team. Don't come out here loving Steph Curry. Get out of here.
And it's okay to like a player too. Like, it's okay to I like Messi, but I also support this team. And I think you're going to find, growing up in New Jersey, you would see Bulls fans everywhere. You'd see Cowboys fans everywhere. You'd see the popular teams. You could walk down the street and find Laker jerseys walking down the street. And I think that's going to be the next thing is Miami. But let's move on and let's find other teams to be infatuated with too. For me, it's a little strange. Red Bull fan. I'm going to be at Red Bull games all season long, watching live. I picked a second team to follow. I like following LAFC, and I like watching them late at night because they're on 10:30, 11 o'clock. Everyone's in bed, dog's in bed, wife's in bed, and while they are very supportive, especially the dog, of watching soccer during the day, it's not the same when everyone is gone and you're just watching on your own, Yes. So I get that. So I can understand how people from different parts of the country, being that our start time is 4 hours different depending on where you are, that you might want to follow Messi. And it's all good. Money, bring it in, and, let's do it.
I think people just think it's unfair that we're signing so many players and still managing to stay under the salary cap.
And let me tell you, surprisingly, and we have a lot of people that watch the podcast that support us. And they support the channel and stuff. And these fans, they're also huge fans of Messi, and they watch Inter Miami games at all odd hours of the night. So it does go to show you how much of a big support there is for Messi, for Inter Miami, more so for Messi, of course. But like you said, I think that it's going to be huge for the league.
All right. So I don't mind people just liking Messi. He's the greatest of all time. Kind of like with Jordan. There was all those Bulls fans because it was the greatest of all time. You appreciate watching greatness. I think that people are more upset because they feel like Inter Miami is loading up with all these guys on TAM deals, and they feel like it's unfair because Inter Miami is going to run away with everything, which I don't think is going to happen, honestly. But I think that that's what everybody's thinking. So I guess we'll move on to this next part right here. So, Bob, I don't think that Inter Miami, for example, is going to get even close to getting the Supporter Shield. I don't think they're going to even get close to that because of all those competitions they're going to be in.
And I don't think that's a goal. If you had to list what they have to do next year, I would say MLS Cup is probably the top, but I'm not even really sure that that's like. It might still be like a Leagues Cup repeat. Is that number one?
It's CCC, the Champions.
Oh,
Champions
okay,
League Cup.
sure.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's number one. MLS Cup is number two. Then it would be Leagues Cup number three. Maybe Supporters Shield number four because nobody gives a crap about the U.S. Open Cup. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, they may not be in the U.S. Open Cup. Who the heck even knows what's going on there?
So and then maybe the Inter-American or whatever there was that random tournament that they said that they might bring back. But yeah, I think the CCC is number one.
You're about to have at least 5 people just start punching you in the face in the chat right now, Danny.
Yeah, I know they hate
because of
about the US
because
Open
of your take on the Open Cup. Like, look at this. Hazel is an Open Cup lover. Other people as well.
I like it. I love it. But the prize money's got to be there, and the television contract's got to be there. If that's not done, then it doesn't matter. I don't think Garber should be telling teams to bring their B squad. That's up to you to put whatever squad on the field you deem necessary. But it's kind of sad as to what happened. Like the league is now working to delegitimize the only domestic cup we have here.
Leagues Cup is here now.
But that's not like, okay, I guess Leagues Cup.
I mean, we went to a game.
I mean,
we've seen games where there's like 7.5 people. I mean, imagine Birmingham, Alabama playing against like Miami down here.
Or imagine Messi going to play at like Jonesboro Community College to play some 5th division team. I'd love it.
Where
you
like,
see that in EPL sometimes. I mean, you see teams get a surprise promotion.
But you know what? I'm okay with it in EPL because the country's like this big. You have neighborhoods playing against other neighborhoods. So like you literally have like 37 teams playing just in London. So I get that there's like a cool rivalry there. But what the hell do I care about Inter Miami going to play against Charlotte Battery over there or whatever they're called, Charlton Battery? And I don't care for the U.S. Open Cup. I really don't. I want to see Messi playing in a tore-up field in front of 37 bleachers.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that anyway. He was never playing a U.S. Open Cup game.
Yeah, that's true.
But the way I look at it is, imagine Birmingham, Alabama playing against the Miami FC. Like Miami FC here locally, they get like 12 people to the stadium. Birmingham has like 100 people because like what do you do in Birmingham, Alabama?
No, but I'm not knocking for the amount of people that show up to the games because they have their fan base. It's not as big as MLS. That's fine. I just don't like that it's technically. I like watching MLS teams play against other MLS teams or against other top teams in the other leagues like Liga MX. I don't want to see them play. If people think that MLS is already bad, right? People that like European soccer already look at MLS like, oh, this is a crappy product. Why am I going to go? And I don't think it's a crappy product, but people already think that. Now I'm going to go ahead and, okay, but by the way, come watch them play against Miami FC so you can really watch some crap. Like, no. Like, let's try to make things look as best as possible.
You don't want to see a bunch of phys ed teachers getting paid $10,000 a year to play at their local soccer club, take on Messi.
Play against Messi?
No,
yes, I would love that.
But there's some people that love the FA Cup that kind of want to romanticize it and bring it to the United States. I don't think it works the same. I don't. I get the similarities, but I don't think it works the same here in this country.
Look at how we just got dragged into the Open Cup quicksand, Danny.
Just pulled right in.
All right, so MLS predictions. Bob, if you had to guess who the top 2-3 teams in the East are going to be, I won't unless you want to give us the West. I don't really care about the West. But maybe who's gonna come out of the West and who's gonna play in the MLS Cup. Just a random prediction.
If I had to pick now, I love FC Cincinnati, but they added some defense. They lost pieces. You never know how a defense is gonna gel. You can't put together a center back super team. So I'm counting them out. I'm gonna say Orlando, Miami, and that would be great for. I mean that. Come on, it's like built in.
And we get 2 home games if we play 2 legs.
There you go. It all works out. And I would say Columbus Crew. And then for the West, I'm going to say LAFC. Ooh, this is a tough one. I'm going to say LAFC, RSL, and can't say Houston because they were so bad for so long. So such a big part of the
they
season.
picked it up at the end of the year.
Picked it up big time.
Let me say Galaxy. Galaxy always has something up their sleeve. They're always just a couple moves away from contending. So I'm going to go say LA, and RSL. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are putting money on RSL to randomly just come out and I'm surprising some people. They got this kid Stefan back from Europe.
Yeah, well, because they had such an amazing summer. They went on a run for like 12 games unbeaten in the middle of the summer last year, which was fantastic. And they
randomly lost to Houston in the Open Cup semis.
Well, I don't think that's that random. I think Houston's really good at home. Houston's very good at soccer.
Yeah,
that midfield now with Ache. I mean, come on, they have one of the best midfield units in the league. But RSL, Diego Luna, have you watched what this kid has done? He did it again for the U.S. men's national team. He's just so special to watch.
So good.
Christian Arango was apparently free, and anyone could have gone out and got him. So I really like what they're putting together.
Yeah, they're looking like a solid squad. So if you had to give us a prediction on Inter Miami, what do you think we are expecting from Inter Miami?
That's a loaded question. It's
I love it.
If they're healthy, they should compete for every trophy that MLS has to offer. They should. That's a big question. You know, betting on injuries, especially with a squad that is kind of this top heavy. You know, if Messi pulls his groin and is out for 3 weeks, you might have 3 losses in a row. I'm not sure what the B plan is. Like, I know the offense is running around Messi, but if you take Messi out of the equation, I don't really know what's going on. You know, you could take other players around him out. I think we could survive a couple games without Jordi Alba. On the right side, you have Yedlin and Gressel. They're interchangeable. Those parts are going to go. But if the wheels fall off, the wheels are going to fall off fast and hard.
Right? You know what? And I don't want to disrespect Messi. I do think that the season doesn't go as planned if Messi's not there. But if he misses 2 or 3 games, I think this roster should be good enough to at least like hang in there, get a win, a draw, and a loss in those 3 games, right? Luis Suarez, I should hope can win us a game here or there. Now, if Messi misses an extended period of time, you know, then I'm a little worried. But,
this is tough. And Mike V is mentioning if Miami doesn't win all the cups, it's a disappointing season. I mean,
what do you consider a successful season and a disappointing season for Inter Miami before we get into the Red Bulls?
2 trophies.
2 trophies. I agree. CCC and MLS Cup is what I'm hoping for. The 2 trophies, I agree. That is bare minimum for me.
Absolutely. I also agree with 2 trophies.
Bare minimum is a little lofty of a goal. Bare minimum.
Minimum. You have the greatest player of all time and Luis Suarez with Busquets, Alba, and all the hype behind it. If we only get 1 trophy, I feel like we're going to be a laughingstock.
I disagree. I understand how you could feel that way. I've never won MLS Cup with my team, but we won a couple shields. One of the very
few.
Yeah.
Are you the only team that's from '96 that hasn't won a cup?
No, I think Revs are there too.
The Revs
Revolution.
Yeah, the Revs are there
with us.
Yeah,
that's a bit. That's crazy. And the Revs have so much money that they can be able to, like, at this point, they can load up if they want to, and they're just eating shit.
But the Red Bulls had Terry and Reaver for a while. They made it to the final with him, and they just couldn't just punch it and get over that hump.
It's not for lack of trying, though. It's not like they haven't tried. You know, they haven't tried to make.
The Red Bulls have the most boring style of soccer.
Yeah, but that's another thing.
World.
But
that's also it's
not boring.
I don't agree
against it.
I actually completely disagree with that. I think they have one of the most fun styles to watch. However, what we've seen over the last 2 years is that they were not fun to watch because they weren't playing it well. Like in and out of the system, that system, if you I mean, globally is a winning system, right? We just haven't had the players to put it away and make it successful. So it looks now. These players are running 100 miles an hour.
I misspoke. It's not boring. I was thinking low block. No, the Red Bulls are not boring. The Red Bulls are annoying to play.
Yeah, that's the one.
They weren't boring. They are annoying as hell because they literally do they snort the Red Bull before they play?
They might,
because they are literally running nonstop pressing all game long. It is the most annoying brand of soccer to play against. And I'm surprised that they haven't done well. And I guess we'll get into the Red Bulls now. Yeah. So just real quick, before we do, this is going to be the first time we do it. We're trying to preview. We want to do the whole league. A couple of things have happened in our personal lives that might not allow us to do it. But we are trying to at least have a preview of every team at the end of every episode from the Eastern Conference from now until the season starts. So everybody gets a feel for the Eastern Conference. Like I said, I want to do it for all the teams, but some stuff has happened and things kind of went awry. But we are going to do that, and we're going to start here with Bob with the Red Bulls. So Lewis Morgan. We love Lewis Morgan down here. We hated to see him go. Started balling over there the first season he was there. He's been injured. What could you tell us about our old boy Lewis Morgan?
So he hasn't shown himself in camp. I mean, like, he's there, but he hasn't stepped on the field. We don't have live streams of our preseason matches. I guess we're not all gifted like Inter Miami is, so we haven't got to watch any of it. We're not going to know until Coachella how ready he is, but by all means, he's expected to be an everyday starter throughout this season, and I don't think he's going to have an injury designation heading into this season. That's huge, huge, huge. Red Bull, it's a system. You got to be a certain kind of player to fit in with the high press, energy, running, legs for days. We love our young guys. I think our average roster age is like 22 years old, something ridiculous. We've even had Julian Hall. He's a 15-year-old. He started 2 games for our preseason squad so far. He made his MLS debut last season. It was one of the youngest starts ever. He has a goal and an assist in preseason already, which is, I believe, more than the entire Inter Miami squad. I recall
correctly. Wow, I see what you did there. And for that, you're gonna get this.
I love it.
Well deserved.
You sound like the Cincy fans. You guys are as bad as.
Oh no, there's nothing worse than Cincy fans. Shout out to Justin. That's why he just joined. He wishes he was a Columbus fan. So Bob, what could you tell us? So, for those that don't know, because we have a lot of people that are new to the channel from like different parts of the world, new to MLS, we were touching on the Red Bulls a little bit, but could you go a little more into detail, the type of ball that the Red Bulls play, formation, and then just style in general?
So they play a very advanced pressing system, and it looks great when it works, and it looks terrible when it doesn't. This team had more fouls and was fouled more than any other team in Major League Soccer. A lot of their games were choppy and chippy. When you're running full speed and you get clipped, you go down hard. You don't get injured very often by that, but you can take a tumble when you're a professional athlete. So I think that's kind of the story, and a lot of people said, like, oh, this Red Bull team's so dirty. Well, when they're pressing and getting on people so fast, you drag a foot. If you make a challenge and it's late, you're going to take someone down. I haven't seen a lot of injuries on or against Red Bull. It's just the fast style play and these little bumps when you're running 100 miles an hour. They affect you a lot. Red Bull plays a very advanced pressing system. It's not just mark, run. They do have a lot of players, a lot of moving parts. It's very press in the opposing end. And it's one of the best defenses you'll see in Major League Soccer. I said that last year at the beginning of the year, and I got laughed out of town. They gave up the 4th least goals in the league in around Major League Soccer. So They definitely have a lot of talent there. The back line is where you're going to see all the talent. You have Andre Reyes and Sean Nalis. We got a new kid, Noah Eiley, who's 21 years old. He's 21 years old, and he's 6'5", at the center back position. You have Tolkien on one side and Kyle Duncan on the other. These are 2 all-league type players. These could be starters on almost every team in Major League Soccer. They line up, like a 4-2-2-2. I don't think that's the best situation. You're going to see a lot of 3- and 5-man back lines based on the availability, because you do want Tolkien getting upfield. You don't want him to have any defensive duties. You guys know with Jordi Alba and Yedlin on the field, like, you're not a traditional right back. Play wing back and get up forward on the field. Aside from that, they have a really good deep midfield. The thing about this Red Bull team, if there's an injury, there's a like-for-like substitution for every man on the field every single time. That's what you need to know. Great midfield made up of Frankie Amaya, who was #1 overall draft pick for Cincinnati. He was supposed to be the next big number 10. Never worked out. Now he plays like an 8 or even a 6 in some games, and it seems like that's really a great position for him there. But it's all about young guys, youth, inexperience, and that's kind of what bit us last year, the lack of scoring. There is no number 9 on this roster. Last year, We went out and signed one. Dante Van Zier made some unfortunate racist comments on the field. He took his suspension above what the league wanted, did all those re-education courses. It looks like the team has accepted him back. I can't comment one way or another. I know a lot of fans, for good reason, aren't rooting for Dante Van Zier this season, and I'll just leave it at that. Around him, you got a lot of pieces. Our big addition, and this is the name you got to know, Emil Forsberg. This guy won the Swedish league twice with Malmo when he was a young kid. He plays Swedish international team, played in the World Cup, scored a goal in the World Cup. He is a pure number 10. People want to slot him into a 4-2-2-2 as one of the wings. I think he's going to be kind of the central distributor. He was with Red Bull Leipzig in the second Bundesliga, won promotion, played 8 years in the Bundesliga at the top flight, being second or third place, and he's played 15, 16, 17 games every single season for them. 40 goals, 40 assists in top flight German football is nothing to scoff at, and I think it's the perfect time for him. He's 32. He's kind of on the come down of his career, but he's certainly useful, maybe not in the parent club, but in the Red Bull squad. He's a player that the team is building a whole ton around, who's, smiling, yucking it up with Lewis Morgan. So you got those two guys as kind of the leadership in the locker room guys, and under them, it's just a bunch of kids who can run.
Is that going to be a connection, like whenever you have players that are out of their prime over there in the Bundesliga playing for the Red Bulls, do they come over and just finish their career here in the MLS because it's an easy transition?
I think so, and I think that's kind of the global synergy thing, and it's not just Salzburg, it's Austria. We got Daniel Royer from what's that team in Austria? Salzburg. So Red Bull Salzburg, and then there's a Red Bull in Brazil too. They share global scouting, so they, if we are looking into South American players, Brazil has, the what do you call that? Like a dossier on every player in South America. So I think that it does work like that. We're going to sell players up. They're going to bring players down, and it doesn't need to be negative. It could be a positive thing like this. Like, we are hurting for a contributor veteran on offense. It's not like he's retiring anytime soon. He still has a lot of ball to play in his life, and he is 100% on board with this transition. I think that that's the key. It's not just selling players that don't want to come to America. You got to find the right guy, the right personality, and if they can do just a little bit, if he can provide a little bit of that magic, we're cooking with fire here.
And well, I guess you touched on it there with the offense. What would be the weakness of this Red Bulls team?
Weakness, scoring, just a direct number 9. And they had a lot of opportunity. I think people mistakenly think that Red Bull isn't an opportunity-based offense, and it is. They had a lot of shots. They were in a lot of good positions. It was just finishing. We just couldn't find consistent finishing. There were injuries. Van Zier with his injuries, then his suspension, was never able to settle in. The Belgian kid is going to be a lot. They're looking for a big body to put next to him. We have Elias Manuel. Big guy, fast guy, gets open, gets in the box, puts the ball 30 yards over the post. So it's going to be that. It's going to be a number 9. I think this team, honestly, is a number 9 away from being a legitimate cup contender. And it's because the system is so sound. When you have that foundation, when you have the play style, when you have the recognition, you have the kids, like I said, all over the field. There's like-for-like subs that, Edelman isn't going to play. Fine, who's Edelman anyway? Bring up the next kid, 15-year-old Julian Hall, plug him in there and let him run, and I think that that's part of the identity of the team. I remember a couple of years ago in the preseason, we started, we had like a midweek Champions League game or something, I don't know, there was something going on, and we put our baby Bulls on, like the Red Bull 2 squad, and they won 5-1. Like that is a possibility with this team. It's so based on identity there.
So if you had to predict, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, I've always seen the Red Bulls as a very efficient countering team when it comes to playing on their defense, and they can be able to counter efficiently. So, I mean, if once you add a number 9 to that, I mean, it's all hell could break loose at that point. Talking about the most annoying team with a freaking 9 that can put the ball in the back of the net. Jesus.
It's been a long time since that happened. We tried with Brian White and Tom Barlow up top for 5 years, and we got rid of Brian White, which is the wrong one to get rid of,
Yeah.
So The Tom Barlow situation is good. He cannot score goals in Chicago. I would like to just rotate pieces, try some new things. If what's working isn't working, move on to the next one.
Is that press style something that's going to stick with the team even after you change coaches? Like, is that just something that the organization wants to keep going? Just because
that is something that's organizational.
Yeah.
There are variations on it. For example, against Charlotte, they played like a half field press instead of the full field press, and Charlotte was expecting the full field press. They had no second plan. They couldn't break us down. So that kind of happened in that Charlotte game. So, I think the coaching, I don't know what pipeline they have there, but they know what they're doing. This Sandro Schwartz guy isn't from nowhere. He may not have been, like the top tier guy, but when that coaching position became available, open up the Red Bull books. Who do we have? Here's your opposition research. Plug it in. Perfect fit, annoying. Yeah, we get Dom Dwyer off top too. That's great.
All right. So just let's end it with this: your predictions for the Red Bulls this season. What you expect, what a success would be, and what would be a complete disaster.
A success would be a top 4 finish in the East.
Okay.
Top 4 finish in the East would be a successful season, or advancing the roster into a place where we are in a better situation come March 1st of next season. Complete disaster is we still can't score goals. That's what it is. It's that number 9. There's just no one proven on the team. If we do well, it's because Van Zier steps up, becomes the goal scorer we need him to be. We find a partner for him, whether it is Manuel or one of those other guys. And when you have a top 5 back line, not much needs to break your way to be there.
And what's your realistic expectation this season? What are your prediction for the Red Bulls?
I want a playoff win.
A playoff win. Got it.
I want a playoff
win.
Right.
That's acceptable, Danny. That's not stretching.
Sorry,
that's
it's not every trophy like in Miami.
Yeah, like
two minimum, bare minimum.
Who wins the Hudson Derby? See what Justin says? Red Bull's going to win. Red Bull wins every year. I think it's going to be pretty easy. I don't like what NYCFC has done at all. They're playing players out of position. Not good.
And there's another. And there's another question here I want to answer, Danny, because this is very important here. Being is asking which Miami player has good pace. His name is Emerson.
To answer that question seriously, Yedlin still has pretty good pace. I mean, if you're talking just defense, no, he's not. He's not on the team anymore. And then you have we have Diego Gomez has pretty good pace. Defensively, Toto Aviles has good pace. Emerson does have good pace, but he's no longer part of the team. I mean, Messi, I really can't say he has great pace. I mean, unfortunately, this isn't a team built on speed. I mean, we're an older team. So,
listen, Mr. Krabs already said it. I answered it seriously, Danny. Get out of here. I don't need any of that.
He's not on the fucking team anymore. Stop talking about Emerson. I fucking hate that guy. All right. Chris, you going to ask your question?
Yes, I am, guys. So look, this is where the real questions come, Bob. All right. So we got a couple of questions locked and loaded, but we're not going to go to our old questions. We're just going to throw some sandwiches on your face, and you're going to tell us how you cut them, right? Do you cut them diagonally or do you cut them north to south?
It's got to be diagonal every time.
There you go. There you go.
The weirdos out here. And by the way, chat, just so you guys know, before we started the show, I asked Bob if Bob was his real name, and he said, no, it's Robert. I want to know if they're still making Bobs out here. And do you guys in the chat think that there are more Bobs than Roberts? So I'll let them chew on that for a little bit. And then here's another question. So when I go shopping at my local grocery store, I hold the cart from the front of the shopping cart. So are you a front shopping cart holder or are you a handlebar back shopping cart holder?
That's tough. I think at the grocery store I push from behind because there's a lot of room. The aisles are long. You have a lot of room. In Costco, you're pulling from the front. You're leaving it down the aisle, grabbing what you need and walking back to it. You're doing all kinds of stuff.
Look at that, Danny. Look at that.
Look, Bob breaking it down. Make sure that you are listening to the designated pundits because just the same way he broke down the carts, he breaks down the soccer. And just so you guys know, we are about to jump on the Designated Pundits podcast right now. I'm actually going to put a link down below here in the chat so that if you guys want to got nothing to do and you want to keep talking a little footy Inter Miami, go ahead and there's the link. You guys can jump on with us in a second because we're going to jump on his podcast right now to preview Inter Miami. So, any final thoughts, Bob, before we get out of here? Oh, and plug your stuff, even though I kind of helped already.
Twitter at I80_sports. All of our stuff is under the I80 Sports heading. So Designated Pundits, MLS on I80 Sports. You might know us from like I80 Sports MLS from last year. Designated Pundits, we got a new name, new logo. It's all going to be fresh. We're really excited to do it there. At I80_sports on Twitter, youtube.com/I80 Sports. You can find the Designated Pundits anywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can find my content now on goals.tv, GOLZ.tv. A lot of great podcasters from all over the world on there sharing their soccer content.
So there we go. Chris, any final thoughts before we jump on with Bob and Designated Pundits?
No, that's it. I mean, this was a great show. We went over some Red Bull stuff. We found out that Bob is a versatile shopper. Let's fucking go, baby.
Yeah, you know what? I love it. He's the first person to give something like that, so I appreciate that. Oh wait, Danny, check the website of Art of Soccer for the. Oh, okay. And I know where I'm going to be going after I'm done with the Designated Pundits because I need me that bootleg. I'm telling you, that bootleg, I'm going to rock that. As soon as I get it, I'm rocking on the show. But for those of you guys wondering, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about that first Saudi Arabia game on Monday. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So make sure that you join us live tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So if you are listening on audio, thank you for listening all the way to the end. We appreciate you sticking with us for the whole hour and 2-3 minutes so far. So please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that other good stuff. And if you are watching on YouTube, we appreciate you sticking all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, all that. And for those of you that are in the comments, we appreciate you guys as always. You guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you guys interacting with us all episode long. And until the next one, have a good one.